Hi, this is my Spokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. I want to deal with a very interesting topic today. I want to speak about causes of dissatisfactions in the churches. Causes of dissatisfactions in the churches. And I'm addressing this topic so that we can make sure that we avoid causing dissatisfactions amongst the members. Now, the reason why I want to deal with this topic is because many people get dissatisfied and then they start actually causing conflicts in the church. Some with their dissatisfactions, some of them move away and walk out of the church unnecessarily. Now, therefore, we need to avoid the people walking out of the church just because they are dissatisfied. We need to avoid also some conflicts that are caused by dissatisfaction of members in the churches. This is the reason why we need to address this so that many of you as church leaders, you may be aware of these causes of dissatisfactions and therefore you can avoid them or eliminate them so that your church can be stable as possible and make sure that no members will move because they are dissatisfied or they are divided amongst themselves because of dissatisfaction. Now, the first thing that causes dissatisfaction in a church is when funds are being misappropriated, misappropriation of funds or mishandling of finances. And this is by the leadership. And generally, if people realize that the leaders are mishandling funds, people get dissatisfied about that. Remember that people give their money out of their hard-earned labor. People are working hard to really give into church, but if funds are misappropriated, that is causing a lot of dissatisfaction upon members. Because members are also wise, they are clever, they are able to see when money is not appropriately used in a church. Now, I want to urge you as leaders that public money should be handled as such. And every money that is given to the church should be handled as public money. Therefore, we need to make sure that we are protecting the integrity of the church and of the leadership by using the funds appropriately. Now, misappropriation of funds is very common in many churches. And of course, there might be reasons that are given towards that. But it is not something that is acceptable in a church because a church is actually begging for funds from people. People that are giving out of their own free will. Some are giving their own tithes out of their own hearts. So what we are saying here is we should actually make sure that we protect every public fund and make sure that the monies of the people are taken care of and therefore avoid dissatisfaction in a church because that will cause the members to walk away. Or also, as I said, it will cause conflicts in the church. Secondly, divisions amongst church members, it does cause dissatisfaction. And divisions we're talking about whereby church members themselves, they're having own issues. They are fighting amongst themselves. They don't agree on issues or they basically don't have divisions among themselves. And that must be avoided because the leadership must make sure that we plant the spirit of unity in the church and we make sure that we bring everybody to coordinate together, to work together, and to make sure that people are united in the sole purpose of the vision of the ministry, to make sure that everyone is on the same page. And this is the responsibility of the church leadership to do so. Now, I want to emphasize that if you're a church leader, let it be primary to you. Let it be very important and priority for you to make sure that people are united. Members are together on the same page. Members want to work together. They formulate actually a strong team that will make them to work together for the betterment of the church and to make sure that the progress of the vision is enhanced because of the unity that they have amongst them. So divisions amongst church members is something that we cannot ignore. You cannot turn a blind eye upon. So therefore, if there's divisions amongst the members, the church leadership should step in and make sure that we address these issues as soon as possible to make sure that there are no divisions amongst the church members. Now, I want to also mention that lack of care and love in a church would actually cause dissatisfactions. Now, when we speak about love and care, we're speaking about caring by members towards other members. We're speaking about caring of the leadership towards the members. We talk about caring of the leadership towards each other as well. So caring in the church, because remember that care and love are the hallmarks of a good church. In other words, the real main thing about the church is actually to share love, to share care amongst each other, because this is what describes our God that we're serving. Now, if a church lacks love or a care towards each other, no member will be satisfied in that particular church. So therefore, you will see dissatisfactions upon the members. Now, when we speak about caring and love, we speak about whereby the real issues of the people are being addressed. We speak about real issues are being attended to, particularly, for instance, if members lose their loved ones, love can be shown by them being supported in this regard. When they are having their good times, like weddings, for instance, care and love also is practicable here, because we need to see the members supporting those people that are having occasions in that regard. So that's the care and love that we're speaking about. And if it is absent, so therefore there's a lot of dissatisfaction in this particular church, and you'll realize that people will start walking out of the church or just not participating at all. So this is very, very important. Now, love, care should be priority in every church to make sure that everybody is happy and everybody is satisfied in this particular church. Now, the other thing is gossips amongst church members. Now, this must be avoided at all times. Now, gossips is whereby people are backbiting against each other, speaking about each other's issues to others amongst the church members. That must be discouraged in any church. So gossip cannot be promoted in a church. So therefore, we must avoid this by all means. I'm emphasizing this because it's very important for us to mention that if you allow gossip amongst the members of the church, it will cause big divisions. And those big divisions will cause dissatisfaction among the members. And therefore, it will crumble the church or destroy it as it is. Now, we need to also make sure that we avoid what we call questionable appointments into positions. Now, when we speak about questionable appointments, we speak about appointing people that are not qualified to be in a particular position just because maybe they are friends of the pastor or maybe they are relatives of the pastor and they are being appointed into positions. When people are not satisfied about a particular person appointed into a specific position because of some intimate relationship, maybe with the pastor, or maybe relationship of family with the pastor, that becomes problematic. So therefore, people start grumbling behind the back of the pastor. People start talking amongst each other. And as they do so, there's a lot of seeds of dissatisfaction that are planted in this particular church. And you will therefore start to see that people are not engaging anymore. People are not participating anymore. And in the worst case scenario, people will walk out of this particular church. So therefore, questionable appointment of people into positions of leadership is very key issue that we avoid that as well. Now, as we appoint people, we must make sure that we appoint people that are fit for job, people that are qualifying to be part of leadership so that they can be able to take up the work and do it. Not just because they are relatives of the pastor or they're paying more money in the church and so on. And that cannot be, because when you do so, you're destroying the church as a leader. So please, let us be careful, leaders, that we don't appoint people that are questionable in positions of power or position of leadership, because we are destroying the church by so doing. Now, the other thing is lack of progress in the church projects. Now, when you announce, for instance, you are building, for instance, you are collecting money, you are raising funds for people to bring about money, and you are saying you're going to be building. Now, when you start not building, or you build and not make progress in the building, that is going to cause dissatisfaction amongst the members. And the reason behind that is because people are giving their hard-earned monies for this particular project, but yet the project is not moving at all. And I'm sure some of you as pastors, you'll associate with this, that some of you are fellowshipping in tents, some of you are fellowshipping in temporary places, some of you are fellowshipping in rented places, and you have promised your church that if they give money, you will be able to buy a land or maybe buy a building. And when you do so, and then the progress doesn't show up, or we don't see that you are moving towards that project that we have agreed upon, what is going to happen, you're going to cause dissatisfaction amongst the members. And when people are dissatisfied, some of them may not verbalize. You'll start seeing what we call passive resistance or lack of participation. When you start to see that, you must realize that people are dissatisfied, and that will actually cause harm to the progress of the church itself, but it's caused by lack of progress in the project. So please be careful, pastors, that you don't just announce projects, that you don't progress them, you don't just start projects that you don't finish, because that is impacting the church seriously, and therefore you need to be careful of that. Now, I want to also mention that poor handling of people by board members, poor handling of people by the leaders of the church, poor handling of the people by the elders of the church, makes such a negative impact that many of the church members walk out of churches because they've been ill-treated by the leadership of the church. So therefore, as leaders of the church, be careful of how you speak to people. Be careful of how you handle people. Be careful of how you deal with people, because sometimes people are dealt with by leadership in favorable manner. So in other words, there are favor rights amongst members of the leadership in the church. So immediately do that, you're basically destroying the church, because people are aware when you start to make others your favorites, and you start to actually favor others against others. And that's what we speak about when we speak about poor handling of the people by the board members. So please, as board members, as leadership board, so please make sure as a committee in the particular church, handle people equally and be even-handed in everything that you do when you deal with the people, because people are aware when you are not dealing with them evenly. So that's problematic, and therefore it will destroy the church. It will cause a lot of dissatisfaction that will therefore, as a result, cause harm to the church, as we mentioned it that way. Now, the other thing is lack of participation by most members. When you are in a church and your church actually shows signs of people not participating, when people are not carrying the load, and it's only few people that are carrying the load, participating and doing the work of the church, there's going to be a lot of dissatisfaction, because people are not going to carry the load alone. So we need more people to be involved. And in any church that is involving many people in participation, you will see the progress. You'll see the people happy. You'll see the people satisfied of being part of this church. But when people are not participating, and it's only few that are carrying the load for the whole church, there is going to be dissatisfaction. And therefore, we need to avoid that, to make sure that as many as possible members, they are participating and being part of the church program and the part of the church activities as well. And that's very important. And we want to emphasize this because it's very key to keep a church that is stable. You need really members to be more satisfied and to be happy to be part of the vision and to be happy to be part of what's happening in the church. So I want to emphasize that it is very, very key to do so. I want to end up here today. Your host, Mike Spokane. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of this great topic. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it will help you in your church as well. So may the good Lord bless you. Allow me to say cheers for now.